92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice. 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online, 24 hours a day.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Ed Shimon with the National Weather Service in Lincoln. Good to see you, Ed. How are you today?
I'm doing just fine, especially with my Brewers doing so well.
Yeah, I wish you to come on with like a Christian Yelich jersey on or something. You could have taken it off for your tour, you know?
Yeah, I've got that back home. It's in a little shrine right now. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what, y'all are like the Grim Reaper right now, man. Somebody comes to town and you're just taking them out left and right. And not only that, then they start to tailspin. I saw the Cubs have lost like 10 in a row. The Cardinals are tailspinning. Oh, man, it's crazy what y'all are doing to people right now.
Yeah, it's good to see. Hopefully that can continue in the months of September and October when the playoffs are around. That's when it really matters. So we'll see how that goes.
Got to get you out of that first round, man. We got to get you farther than that.
Yeah, the Dodgers took us out last year, and on our way, we thought we'd have a chance, but then the Dodgers said, "Nah,
nobody's got a chance." It's terrible. It's terrible. Anyways, well, it's glad to have you on the good to have you on the program once again, Ed. And you know what? I think we have finally broken the curse of you coming on the show, and severe weather is in the forecast. Things are looking good this week. Tell me about the weather this week, Ed.
Oh yeah, this is looking really good. I mean, a brief little pop-up shower tonight into early tomorrow morning, but other than that, boy, it's a banner. The next 8 days, literally, you know, we're normally in the upper 70s as we close out May, and normally in the upper 50s for lows. We're going to see almost exactly that the next 8 days. Carbon copy, you know, it's going to be almost a little bit of a boring forecast, so to speak, but just banner. I mean, you know, it's warm enough to swim. It's warm enough to, you know, to enjoy some of this, you know, lakeside activities if you've got that. And, you know, and no rain. So,
yeah,
you know, you really can enjoy almost full days each of the next week or so.
And it looks great. I mean, it just looks great. Let's go day by day here, Ed. You know, give us the forecast for today, tonight, and the rest of the week. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, 83 today. A few more clouds than sun. You know, there's just a little bit of moisture hanging around for a bit. And that moisture is going to tend to tip the balance up to about a 20% chance this evening and overnight of a few showers. And that's going to linger into Wednesday morning, 20% chance. What that means is, I mean, a pop-up shower, if you feel a few sprinkles for, you know, a half hour or something like that, that's probably all you're going to see. But my guess is most of DeWitt County is going to be dry, probably even through the tonight, tomorrow, a 20% chance, because that's really only 20% coverage of any one particular county. And, you know, it's just not enough to really do much other than maybe wet the ground. And then lows tonight about 61. We're back up to 83 tomorrow. Sun's going to start to peak out. It's mostly a morning, you know, 20% chance. So afternoon sunshine popping out. And just a banner afternoon, really. Clear skies. I don't see a whole lot of cloud coverage. Wednesday night, Thursday, even through Friday, mostly sunny. Saturday, mostly sunny. Sunny. Yeah, each day during the day we have sunny down, or mostly sunny the rest of the week. You know, and highs are right around 80, low 80s, and then lows in the upper 50s to around 60. So each day really is just looking good. As far as winds go, it looks like the gustiest day is probably going to end up being Thursday. Gusts up into the you know, right around 20 miles an hour. But other than that, you know, not too windy. You know, just really nice for a late May timeframe, because we've had very, very hot ends of May, and we've had some cool, you know, ends of May, but this is going to be just right in the middle.
There you go, man. I tell you, banner week, and I love the consecutive days of sunshine and all of it. So gonna look real nice. And I had noticed earlier in the weekend, Ed, it looked like there was some calls for rain, maybe Friday, Saturday, but now just minimal chances. What's going on here? Why such great weather here over the Midwest right now?
Yeah, what's setting up in the upper levels of the atmosphere is what we call an omega block. If you look at the Greek symbol omega, there's a loop on one end, bubble in the middle, and then a trough on the other. So basically, that shows the low pressure, high pressure, low pressure across the United States. And when the jet stream does that, and we're under the middle of the omega block, we have no storms rolling through that. So we're going to be the rest of this week really under that middle high pressure of that blocking pattern, and it just keeps all the rain and everything. It's going to be out in the plains, and then maybe in the Ohio Valley. That they may see a little bit over and around us, but we're going to kind of be protected, so to speak, and out of the storm track for the rest of the week for the most part. That's why we only have like maybe a pop-up shower here or there if a little bit of energy gets in there.
Mm-hmm.
But really, for the most part, the storm tracks are going to be bumped around Illinois.
Sure. Very good. Very good. So nice week ahead, and going to close out May in style, it seems. Speaking of May, Ed, what's the trends for May so far? Are we, it feels like we've been maybe a little dry, some timely showers here and there, but overall, it doesn't feel like we've been all that wet. How is May turned out so far in terms of the temperature and the precipitation trends?
Yeah, we've had probably 10 to 12 days of precipitation, but we're still below normal by about 1.5 inches total. We've only gotten just about 3/4 of an inch of rainfall out of those 12 days, so just not enough to really. We're starting to trend dry in the surface and subsoil moisture. So, but we're not in any drought setting yet. Dr. Trent Ford, the state climatologist, has not expanded that into include the DeWitt County and surrounding areas yet, but we're looking at it. But we're definitely below on the moisture, and we're colder than normal for temperatures, 2.5 degrees below normal. We had that cool spell to start the month, almost 8 or 10 days straight of cooler than normal in the early part of May, and that set the tone. Now we've been around normal for the last week and a half, but we're still about 2.5 degrees below normal for the temperatures.
Gotcha. Very good. Very good. Excuse me. In terms of like sunny days, cloudy days, do you have that data so far? And with stretches of just brilliant sunshine ahead, it sounds like should end pretty well. How about the sunshine for the month of May so far, Ed?
Sure. Yeah, the sunshine has shown. Let me see how many days we've had. Clear skies 10 days, partly cloudy 14. So cloudy only 1. Well, that means 8 to 10% coverage for the balance of the day. So really had quite a bit of sunshine, even though those rainy periods came in on those partly cloudy days, which is 40 to 70% coverage.
Sure.
So,
and it felt like in the overnight, because I've been thinking about planting a garden this spring, and it felt like the opportunity to plant a garden was kind of limited just because of timely rain. But on top of that, early in the month, the overnight lows were still dipping into the 40s. It felt like. I don't know. Was I wrong on that?
No, you're right on, because we had several days in the 40s, and even below 55 is the temperature overnight that you don't want. The seeds don't germinate, and a lot of people even put plants in seeds and grow them inside and bring the plants out. But if it gets colder than 55 at night, growth stops generally.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really would be running into a pretty slowed down growth of anything young and trying to get going.
Sure. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom for today. Anything about May, Ed, that's caught your eye in terms of the trends or how we could end up? Anything of that nature? Sounds like a pretty standard month overall. I don't know. What do you think? Where do we stand as we start to close things out?
Well, one thing that is standing out is that May is one of our highest severe weather months. May 28th, exact day of our peak climatologically severe weather day of the entire year. And right now, I don't think we have had hardly any warnings or severe weather for the balance of the month, and that's pretty unusual. We started out all gangbusters, late March and through April. We're actually 110 tornadoes total for the state of Illinois, I should say. But even in central Illinois, we're up to 60 tornadoes, which is well above our average. But So that's kind of standing out. We missed out on some potential frequent severe weather events in May, which is our climatological normal.
Sure. Knock on wood, no more of it, right?
I know, yeah. We've had enough. We can take a break. It'd be nice, yeah.
Sure. Very good. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get into June a little bit here, Ed, and start to look ahead. What do the outlooks for the month of June say?
Yeah, our June outlooks right now are showing up as above normal temperatures, not it's only in the 33 to 40% above normal trends there for temperature. So not overly hot, but certainly a few of those days in June could creep up into the upper 80s, lower 90s as we would typically see. Moisture wise, just shows equal chances, and really the whole expanse of the upper Midwest is just equal chances. The above normal precip is actually West Texas, New Mexico, and then the Florida, Georgia, Alabama area. So we're not really that close to above normal precip. So may continue some somewhat dry conditions into June. Well, I know the first week of June is not really looking all that wet either. But we're probably going to open up some of the floodgates at some point, just from statistical normals. If you have an omega block this long, somewhere in the second week of June, probably going to see a cold front come blasting through at some point to break the pattern. So I would suspect that somewhere in that 7 to 13 week of June, we'd be getting some storms again.
When do we start to see the real summer humidity set in, Ed?
That usually starts in June. I mean, you're going to get the crops are really going to start to take off. And then when they get about 4 to 6 feet tall, the evapotranspiration really ramps up as those especially the cornfields. The maturity of the cornfields drives how much additional humidity is in the air, and that sets the stage for some very, very humid July days. So, last half of June, really, when the crops really get going is, depending on how much rain we get in the first part of the month. But yeah, that's why we tend to see a July real high humidity and heat kind of a month once those crops get going.
Couple of things about June. Where do we start temperature wise? Where do we end? How about precipitation for June? What do we usually see in June?
Yeah, normal high at start of the month is 80 and the normal low is 58. It climbs a little bit. 86 is our normal high by the end of the month, with our normal low about 64. So temperatures only rise about 6 degrees through the month. But still, that's pretty nice. I mean, anything in the 80s with lows in the low 60s is pretty nice, so to speak. Rainfall wise, about 4.16 inches total for the month. So roughly an inch of rain a week is on average what we would typically see through the June timeframe.
Sure. How about sunshine? I know, or not sunshine, but like daylight. I know we hit the summer solstice in June. Is that right?
Yes, we do. Yeah. That's the June 21st. That's the longest sunlight day of the year, so to speak. But I think we have roughly about 14 hours of sunlight at that point in time. The solstice or the equinoxes are March 21st and September 21st, and that's when it's 12 hours and 12 hours. We tip the balance 2 hours more sunshine than nighttime. So we roughly around 14 something hours of sunshine in that longest day of the year, sunlight wise.
Yeah, sure. Very good. Comes up in June, and we kind of stay pretty, like, if I'm not mistaken, like June, July, we stay pretty consistent with that sun's maintaining a late sunset, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah. There's a little disjointedness between the earliest sunrise and the latest sunset. Those are separated by about a week and a half. But when you're right in that longest day of the year, the days and times shift a little bit. It's not exactly on June 21st for both of those. So, but you'll get twilight all the way till 10 o'clock on those longest few days of the year.
Love it. Very good, Ed. Anything about June we didn't touch on, severe weather wise, or we've seen some late June, tornadoes. Derecho was a 2-3 years ago now. Severe weather still not out of the question, like you've mentioned a little bit there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And once we start seeing, the higher dew points, that's what really drives the fuel for storms to become severe again, or even a little bit more. So last half of June, I would, just from law of averages, I would say we're probably going to end up having some severe weather as the Omega block breaks, and maybe the third and fourth week of June too. So be prepared for some summer severe weather. It's not going to be done here.
Very good.
We got lucky.
Ed, I tell you, on that note, friend, let's take a break, come back with some more. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom today. More to come with Ed on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. We start the day lower with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. July corn opening $4.59, down 4 1/4. September corn down 3 1/2, $4.66 1/4. And December corn $4.83 3/4, down 2 3/4. July beans opening $11.89 3/4, down 6 3/4. August beans down 6 3/4, $11.88 1/4. And November beans $11.83 3/4, down 4. July Chicago wheat $6.41, down 5 1/4. July KC wheat down 2 1/4, $6.79 3/4. July bean meal $3.29.40, down $2.50. July bean oil $73.61, down 37 cents. Energy market, July Brent crude oil up $2.95, $99.09. RFD Radio Network.
Spring into savings this May with a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Savings with a new car? Yes, with our fuel savings model like the Chevy Trax with 40 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Trailblazer, and Chevrolet Equinox with 33 miles per gallon highway. And don't forget about our EV options, the Chevrolet Bolt and Equinox. Chevrolet, together let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, our guest on the Zoom here for today. Ed, we've gone over June. How about, I don't know, do you want to lump June in with July and August, or do you want to go to July, August, September? What outlook do you feel is most accurate in the 3 months? In a 3-month time frame there, looking ahead?
Since we've already looked at June, I could go June, July, August, or July, August, September, I guess. But showing temperatures below normal in that 3-month period, I don't think I've seen that in a long time, where the last 2 months of summer and the first month of fall are in the below normal temperature. So that must mean, if June's showing above normal, then July, August, September, I don't know if that's going to get heavily weighted towards a real cold September, but when you have a 3-month period with a low normal temperature, that just kind of raises an eyebrow for me a little bit. And I mean, storm tracks, I would think, but when you look at precip, it's still just equal chances there. And the Great Lakes, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, is below normal precip. So I don't know, we're going to get under cool, dry high pressure, or cooler, or not cold. Obviously, normals are in the 80s in the summer, and the lows around 60, but I don't know. That might spell a real comfortable summer if we can see,
those county fair organizers out there, Ed, are not disappointed to hear this right now.
I know, because the heat really is a problem in the summer, and all those fairs, stocking extra water, and people having health problems at the state fair when we go down there and do on-site support. By far, the vast majority of issues come with heat. So maybe we'll have a little bit less frequent heat. Hot portions of the summer. It's not that the whole summer is going to be below normal. Obviously, there's ebbs and flows in the heat and the air masses that are moving around. But if we could tend less of those than normal, that'd be nice.
I tell you, I feel like by the time we get to July and August and September, it's going to be hot and humid the whole way. So, we'll we'll see how. Is there a trend where it's like, is there a like heat set up somewhere south or west where it could creep in? Are we on the border of anything where it's like, maybe we're looking below normal, but it's not far away type of a thing?
Yeah, usually that happens if the heat extends all the way up into the Dakotas, western Minnesota. If it's not above normal heat, we'd have a better chance of getting it in here. The above normal temperatures are kind of mainly like far western Kansas, Colorado, and then further west. So it isn't going to be residing as close as we've seen in the past in terms of that heat. So, it may not stick around. When it does kind of surge in just periodically, it may not stick around as long.
Mm-hmm.
So those hot spells may be more short-lived, I think.
Gotcha. Very good. And I wonder, does having a below normal signal for temperatures, for the growers out there, does that signal anything concerning for them, or just as long as we get some timely rain and some sun, it's going to be good?
Yeah, because this below normal is not like against growth. Because a little bit below normal, is not a bad thing, I don't think. Because the intense heat, I would think, is not as favorable. It triggers a lot more need for moisture in the the root systems and whatnot. So if it's not as hot, you're not losing as much moisture out of the soil, and I think that would be better for growth in general. You're not losing valuable moisture out of the soil to the air. You're allowing it to stay in the ground and be productive for growth, I think.
Got it. How about precipitation for that 3-month stretch?
Yeah, it's right. It says equal chances of above or below normal precip there. So we roughly get right around 4 inches a month in the summertime. Below normal is not far away though, as I mentioned, just to the northwest.
Mm.
So that just says there's not a lot of storm tracks coming like out of northwest flow on a frequent basis. If the northern plains, Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas are below normal precip, that probably signals that we're not going to see a lot of severe weather probably if we don't have a lot of moisture coming this way.
Could be nice.
Yeah, really good.
Doesn't mean we're not out of the doesn't mean that like super hot days are out of the equation. I'm sure we'll see our share of those this summer. If you don't mind, Ed, wrap us up with just kind of keeping hydrated, staying cool, not overheating. If you would, just annual reminders about those.
Absolutely. Yeah. You always have to, especially if you have some plans to being outside, start hydrating a day or two ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Your body can start to accumulate that support from being hydrated, because you can quickly lose moisture, especially if you're not feeling the sweat because it's a dry air mass. That's why in the Southwest they call it a dry heat, because you don't feel the sweat on your skin. That can happen quickly early in the season if you're not acclimated to the heat. So just hydrate up early, and then frequently, remind yourself to take a break from the heat if you are on a very hot day outside.
Where do folks go for all things weather forecasts, the data? Where do they find it, Ed?
Weather.gov/Lincoln.
Ed, always good to talk to you. Thanks for making time for us straight out of the holiday, no less. Appreciate that very much. And we'll catch up with you again soon. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news comes your way now on the WHOW Morning Show.